All right, let's dive in. Today, we're unpacking a book that sold, get this, over 25 million copies and completely reshaped how we think about progress. Of course, I'm talking about Atomic Habits by James Clear. So, in the next 5 minutes or so, we're going to get right to the core ideas that make this book such a phenomenon.
You know the feeling, right? It's January 1st, you set this huge, inspiring goal, you're all in for a few weeks, and then, poof, it's gone. You're right back where you started. So what gives? Why does this keep happening to us?
Well, here's the book's first big kind of mind-blowing idea. James Clear says it's not about your willpower, it's not about your motivation. The problem is your strategy. Your goals are failing because you lack a clear, simple system.
So this is a huge shift, right? We're always told to be goal-oriented, but Clear argues that's exactly where we get tripped up. The secret? Stop staring at the finish line and start building better systems.
Okay, so what exactly is a system? Well, think about it this way. The goal is running a marathon. The system is the process. It's the daily habit of just putting on your running shoes and getting out the door, even for a few minutes. See, goals are about that one moment in time. Systems are for life.
And this quote from the book just nails it. Ambition is awesome, for sure, but on those tough days, when you have zero motivation, you fall to the level of your systems. A good system is what catches you, what carries you through when that initial excitement is long gone. Okay, now for the part that really grabs you, the incredible math behind this whole idea. This is the central hook of the book, really. You do not need massive, earth-shattering action to get remarkable results. You just need to get 1% better.
So let's look at this. What happens if you get just a tiny bit worse each day versus a tiny bit better? I mean, day to day, the difference feels like nothing, right? But over time, well, the effect is absolutely astounding.
And there it is, 37 times. If you get just 1% better each day for a single year, you end up 37 times better. It's literally the compound interest of self-improvement. These tiny daily habits, they're the atoms that build the molecules of your success. It's just incredible.
Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually do it? Well, this is where the book gives us a simple, memorable, and super practical framework. It's called the 4 Laws of Behavior Change. Think of it as your toolkit for building good habits and, just as important, for tearing down the bad ones.
Now, these 4 laws are all based on a simple feedback loop that basically runs our lives. First, there's a cue, something that triggers your brain. That leads to a craving for some kind of reward. Then comes the response, that's the habit itself. And finally, you get the reward, which satisfies that craving and tells your brain, hey, let's do that again.
So it's brilliant, really. To build a good habit, you just walk through the loop. You make the cue obvious, the craving attractive, the response easy, and the reward satisfying. And what if you want to break a bad habit? You just flip it. You invert the laws. You make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. It's just such a simple, elegant framework.
All right, time to get practical. How do we actually apply these laws in the real world? The book is packed with great strategies, but we're going to focus on 3 of the most powerful ones.
First up is something called environment design. And this is all about that first law. Make it obvious. And here's the big secret. Your environment often matters way more than your willpower. I mean, think about it. You want to eat more fruit? Stop hiding it in the fridge drawer. Put a big bowl of it right on the counter where you can't miss it. You're just making the good choice the easy, visible choice. And if you want a powerful, real-world example of this, look no further than organ donation. The consent rates are astronomically higher in countries where you're automatically enrolled and have to actively opt out. It's the exact same decision, but simply by changing the default, by changing the environment, you change behavior on a massive, life-saving scale. Okay, next strategy is a really clever one called habit stacking. This is another great way to make it obvious. The idea is, instead of trying to remember a brand new habit out of thin air, you just piggyback it onto a habit you already do without even thinking. And the formula for this is just so simple and so effective. It's just, after I do my current habit, I will do my new habit. For example, after I pour my morning coffee, that's the habit you already have, I will meditate for 1 minute. Boom, your old habit just became the perfect cue for your new one. And finally, we have one of my absolute favorites, the 2-minute rule. This one tackles law number 3, make it easy. The concept is genius in its simplicity. Any new habit you're trying to build should take less than 2 minutes to do. Why? Because it's all about destroying that initial friction, that inertia that stops us from even starting.
So let's say you have a big, ambitious goal. You want to read 30 books this year. Sounds awesome, right? But then it's a Tuesday night, you're tired, and the thought of it is just overwhelming. So what do? You do nothing.
But with the 2-minute rule, that massive goal becomes simply read 1 page. That's it. See, the point isn't to only read 1 page. The point is to master the habit of just showing up, because once you've started, it's so much easier to keep going. You have to standardize the habit before you can optimize it.
All right, this next idea, this is where we get to the real heart of the book's message. This is about moving beyond just simple life hacks and understanding the ultimate purpose of building better habits.
Because here's the crucial shift in thinking. True, lasting change isn't actually about the outcome. It's not about losing the weight or writing the book. It's about changing your identity. The goal isn't just to run a marathon, it's to become a runner. And this quote just brings it all home. Every single action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. Think about that. Every time you do that tiny habit, you read that 1 page, you meditate for 1 minute, you do 1 push-up, you are casting a vote. You're giving yourself a little piece of evidence that says, hey, I'm this kind of person now. And it's those votes, one after another, that build a new identity from the ground up.
So I'll just leave you with this question. Forget about some massive overnight transformation. What's one tiny vote? What's one atomic habit you can cast today for the person you want to become?